called a couple weeks ago and asked if I could take the long-term job, and I said no, because really I can't. I have so much outside of just my full-time job that I didn't want to take on the extra responsibilities, and with that, I mean, you're their teacher for a few months. You're not just their sub anymore. You're their teacher for a few months. So when I would normally come in for a day or two while a teacher is sick or has a meeting or something and just be the messenger, hey guys, here's what your teacher wants us to do today. And then at the school I work at, maybe a quarter of them do it. And that's not just on sub days. That's for their real teachers too. If you guys could see the grade books, it's very unfortunate. They don't turn in their work. They won't put pencil to paper. They just won't. It's like refusal. But when you're their teacher, you do a lot more prodding along, a lot more begging, I guess, I don't know. And then entering grades and lesson planning, because this teacher didn't leave me anything. So not just that. Okay, so let me back up a little bit. I said no. And it is more pay, but it's not triple the pay or anything, but it's triple the work. So that part, that kind of stunk, but I just couldn't throw that on the plate with my other business. And then, I like to film, and I knew that was going to cut into that, so I was like, no. Well, they tried to find somebody to take it, and nobody would take it. Red flag, right? And granted, I've had her class before. I've had her class a couple times, but it was last semester, and it was upperclassmen. I forgot that we switched, so I didn't know what her classes were this semester, this half of the year. And it's not upperclassmen anymore, I'll tell you that much. It's freshmen and one class of sophomores. So nobody would take the class. They called me again and basically begged. They said, you can have one day off a week. I will make sure that the pay starts, because the pay doesn't start until you hit 20 days. But if I was going to take one day off a week, I would never get that extra pay, because you have to complete your 20 days, which I'm like, but what if you get sick? You did all that extra work for nothing. Like, I'm not, no. But she's like, I'll make sure that you get the extra pay, even if you have to take one day off a week. So I just said yes. Oh my god, I didn't even do my intro. Sorry guys, this is just a quick update. So I said yes. So I got caught in a net and pulled up onto this boat. Now, I walked into straight up chaos because, as I said, to be fair, this teacher has had leg problems, foot problems for months. They've had a lot of subs. And in fact, they had no teacher last week. They had a different sub every day last week. It's midterms. I get there and nobody has brought me access to the grade book yet, so I can enter grades. I don't even know if their grades of stuff that they've turned in has been entered. And like I said, only about a quarter of the kids do any work, and then of that quarter, a lot of them like to be walked through. But I'm like, I'm not supposed to do this for you. Like, I can give you you ideas, but I can't tell you what your next sentence should be. I have we're writing an essay right now, coming up after each sentence. And I'm like, we're writing a whole paper. I can't give you each sentence. Like, I can help you with your thesis. I can look at your notes and tell you, like, maybe what couple of paragraphs you should have in your body. And in conclusion, it's kind of just a restatement of your intro. I'm telling you, this is a lot, okay? And it makes me a little, sad because they don't know how to write a 4-paragraph paper. Some of them. And I'm like, you guys can do this. And I just get a lot of comments like, I hate language arts. One kid said, well, in junior high, we only had to write a 3-paragraph paper. And I was like, but are you in junior high? We're in high school now, so you have to write it. And usually it's 5, right? But it's 4. And it can be super basic, like, you just have to but the thinking, like the critical thinking and the expansion is not there. So I've got my work cut out for me. On top of that, I've had many teachers come in the room and tell me that there's been no classroom management, which is glaringly obvious. Like, I didn't need to be told that, but I think they were trying to make sure that I knew that what I'm seeing isn't happening because of me, which I already know because I'm a sub, you know. So I know that some days, yes, they're like, ooh, sub, but I've had these kids in other classes for a couple of years now, so I already know how most of them are. But one of them goes, I know it's going to be uncomfortable to set some boundaries and introduce rules to these kids because they haven't had it this far. But I'm going to say that you're going to have a better time here if you do. Because they need it. And they haven't had it. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of noticed. So I'm thinking that we're getting there. Like, my one of my freshman blocks is pretty good. It's pretty good. It's small. It's pretty good. My sophomores at first were not doing what I asked, but we got to the point now, like, they're supposed to be on chapter 5 and 6 of a book. And I was like, listen, I need you guys to be honest with me because this is my responsibility now. How many of you guys are on chapter 5? And I think 2 kids raised their hand. I said, how many of you guys are on chapter 4? And I just kept going down, and a lot of them were still on chapter 2. And so I gave them some time to catch up. I was like, okay, so the first chunk of class is going to be catch up time, but I can't just give you the whole class to catch up. And from according to the last quiz because another teacher had to grade it.